This historical black and white film takes place in April 1945, shortly before the fall of Germany. Willie Harold, a deserted soldier, speeds away down a country road. He is pursued by a truck full of joyful Germans. An orchestra thunders in the truck, and the captain, drinking a bottle of schnapps, fires at the fleeing villain. Harold is lucky. In the wilderness, inaccessible to the truck, he hides from pursuit, like a hobbit hiding from the Nazgul. Subsequently, at an abandoned railway station, he takes a blanket for foot wraps. In that place, he finds an exhausted deserter, but with a weapon. After resting, they enter the farm at night. Next to her, on a tree, hangs a gallows with an inscription about punishment for looting. They did not heed the warning. While a companion with a cobblestone at the ready watches over the sleeping guard, Willie quietly steals fresh chicken eggs directly from the nests in the barn. The awakened chickens make noise, and the guard awakens. Willie orders his companion to eliminate the guard, but he escapes. The guardian lets out a scream and attacks Harold, but he is knocked away by hitting his head on a brick. Then he notices that the peasants, raised to their feet by the noise, are killing an accomplice with pitchforks. Not wanting to become a tree decoration with a dead body, the soldier deserts. He walks along the tracks near a small town. On a dirt road, Harold discovers an abandoned car, where he finds a box of apples and a box containing the uniform of a German Air Force captain. Hastily puts on his uniform. It fits perfectly. Only the pants are a little too big. A sudden discovery forces Willie to pretend to be an officer, but his disguise is interrupted by the appearance of a deserter, Private Freitag. Having mistakenly mistook the stranger for the captain, he reports the loss of contact with his squad, wanting to join the Herald. First, he is ready to pull out a car stuck in the mud. The fraudster easily accepts the rules of the game and begins to behave like a commander. There are few alternatives, the choice is small. The soldier frees the car, and they go to the populated area. On the road, the newly made captain quietly gets rid of his worn clothes so that his subordinate does not suspect anything. Late at night, they reach the tavern. The situation is tense. Soldiers are fleeing, robbing civilians, and defeat in the war is just around the corner. Harold abuses other people's hostility for profit. He asks residents about the atrocities of the defector so that the authorities can compensate for the losses. Local residents welcome them warmly and even treat them to dinner. The Freitag's excessive appetite arouses the suspicion of the innkeeper, who believes them to be escaped soldiers suffering from hunger on the road. Only the endurance and skill of the captain preserve the legend. However, as night falls, the residents test him, deliver the thief to the house, and ask him to solve the problem. Without flinching a single muscle on his face, Harold shoots the bullet itself into his head. At dawn, they go to the grounds where Willie stole the eggs. This is where a trio of escaped criminals have seized control, setting up dead losers on the couch, tormenting the owners and looting supplies. Harold's commanding appearance and commanding voice allows him to take control of the situation. He recruits thieves to join his team. The character notices that the captain's trousers are clearly out of size. He keeps what he saw a secret, remaining silent. Having stocked up on supplies, the group continues their journey. On the way, they meet two military men pushing an anti-aircraft gun. They have no choice and they join the group. With gas tank empty, the soldiers are forced to tow the car with the gun, and this shared burden increases their mutual antipathy. The fascist convertible is overtaken by a military police truck. Brutal guards inspect IDs, ready to use weapons if there is resistance. The Herald needs to demonstrate outstanding acting skills to convince the inspector of the extent of his rights. The Führer himself sent him to the rear to assess the situation. He begins to be disturbed by ominous news about local events. May I ask who is on the line now? The military, deceived by the swindler, delivers him and his accomplices to a camp where deserters and looters are kept. Join them on the road. The officer who previously shot the fleeing Herald does not recognize him due to his new uniform. They explain to the captain that holding prisoners and ensuring their existence in such a difficult time for the country is an unaffordable luxury. Appointed personally by the Führer, he had the authority to resolve the issue without formalities and legal delays. In particular, a tribunal is needed to judge the prisoners according to the law. While Willie ponders the task, his team needs food and a place to stay for the night. Warden Schutte introduces Harold to the prisoner barracks and the routine of the camp. During interrogation, Willie's subordinate beats the prisoner, simultaneously taking away more or less valuable things from the others. An ordinary Freitag believes that this is wrong and asks the captain to stop the chaos, but he notices that these people are no longer residents anyway. Their fate is predetermined. At the same time, the manager talks with the chief of judicial officials, Hansen, without which, of course, no one can deal with the prisoners. He asks Schutte to give one of the prisoners a parcel from his daughter, who has earned this right through hard work. He agrees, but does not have time to move 10 steps away before he pockets the contents for himself. Harold informs Schutte that he will hold courts-martial, on the basis of which the prisoners can be executed. Some had already been killed, 2 were shot, 3 were beaten to death. This infuriates the justice officer. He reports to his superiors about the arbitrariness of Schutte and Harold, but they cleverly get out of it, saying that the prisoners attacked the officer during interrogation. Nevertheless, the situation is dangerous. The authorities can check Harold's credentials and find out that there is no person from the Führer. Schutte, who wants to quickly finish all the affairs in the camp, calls his superiors to get approval from the Gestapo for Captain Harold to conduct simplified courts-martial, bypassing the Ministry of Justice. If, of course, Willie agrees to take full responsibility and leadership. Having received permission, Schutte informs Hansen's superiors, and they, in fact, allow him to act without him. The justice officer receives a call from above, and then sees that his cunning colleagues in the camp business have already begun to solve the problem with all their might. Prisoners are digging a spacious hole on the cannon of the forest. Schutte leads a group of 30 prisoners out of the barracks. They march, chanting, even when driven into a pit. Harold orders the anti-aircraft gun to be brought up. Prisoners are shot from it, tearing their bodies into pieces. There are still survivors after the first clip. They try to escape, but the soldiers, having reloaded the cannon, open fire on them. The realization of what he has done makes Willie want to scream, but he holds his face. If his deception is revealed, the same will be done to him. When the anti-aircraft gun jams, the personnel finish off the survivors with hand weapons. Only Freitag does not take part in the treasury. After a small dinner of hot potatoes, the firing squad casually returns to their duties. Freitag stands aside, but only until it becomes clear that in a pit full of corpses the groans of a wounded man are heard. To finish him off, it is necessary to climb into the grave itself, and the captain orders the orderly to save the unfortunate man from suffering, which he reluctantly does. In just one day, Harold and Schutte shot 90 prisoners. Hansen reports this to his superiors when he hears swearing outside the window. The remaining prisoners refuse to bury the hole. The officer tells the soldiers to fill the grave themselves, and they are forced to obey. As they cover the bodies with lime, it is clear that some of those executed are still alive, but not for long. In the mess hall, the personnel celebrate their successful work, praising Captain Harold. Guests enjoy a performance by 2 prison artists. Repertoire is off the charts in terms of the amount of toilet humor. They also, together with the officers, perform the anthem to military brotherhood. While the soldiers are having fun with a banal and ordinary massacre on a blue bench, the officers are having small talk with cultural workers. Willie intends to find out the reasons for the imprisonment of gifted young men, but they remain silent. Then he starts a game, inviting them to imagine themselves as robbers. For example, he stole an officer's uniform. Mistaking the hidden confession for a prank, the guests learn that the artist robbed his late friend. This situation plunges the buffoons into anger, which is interrupted by angry warriors. The clash moved outside and escalated into a massacre. However, having released their anger, the instigators make peace and beat the prisoners who did not want to dig a hole. The beatings attracted the attention of the officers, who ordered them to stop. However, Harold's order is ignored. To maintain authority in front of the camp commander, the liar needs to get out. First, he fires a pistol shot near the soldier's ear, temporarily stunning him. After this, he lines up the exhausted people in a line, connects them with a cord, and, taking out a weapon, orders them to run away. Having escaped, the criminals are shot in the back by Willie, and the wounded man is dragged away by his accomplices. Harold hands the weapon to the actor, ordering him to repeat his action. The artist kills another hostage. Instead of obeying orders, the performance partner commits suicide with a shot to the head. The officer waits for the actor to cock his weapon. -1 escaped prisoner. Just as Willie is changing the clip and his exhausted target is dragging 3 corpses, the jester's wife grabs his gun and opens fire. Everyone around joins the firefight. About a dozen bullets pierced the weakened body, and it collapsed into the mud. At dawn, Freytag notices how Harold's overly long pants are being shortened, clearly out of size. Due to the risk, he remains silent. The situation is extremely unsafe. Shooty approaches the tent. The cleanup team is ready to search for hiding soldiers. The leader appears before them in a tunic and underwear, but gives an inspiring speech, after which everyone disperses. In the absence of residents, Harold's squad amuses itself by causing drunken brawls and mocking the prisoners. Returning with the team, Shooty discovers an empty camp full of dead bodies. The captain's drunken comrades leave the kitchen, and he himself staggers from drinking. Suddenly, the refectory explodes, taking the lives of those who did not leave it. British artillery bombards the camp, pulverizing everything. And the Allied aviation sends its best greetings to the Germans in TNT equivalent. After bombing, the staggering Harold finds his cap and coat. He orders the survivors to line up. They urgently need to leave this cozy place. 2 prisoners escaped with the fugitive soldiers, and the captain orders that the uniform be found. Teeter says that only the table under the barrier remained from the camp. The rest is now cultivated fields. A modern color image of the site is now on display. The team heads in town in a car emblazoned with the slogan Harold Operations Court. In scams, they're similar to the wildebeest team from the novel The Golden Calf. Unlike the famous swindler, the criminal Captain Lico, rushing through the streets, arrives at the town hall, decorated with a welcoming white banner. This is how the local authorities greet the Allies who are about to approach the city. The military immediately kills the mayor, who accidentally came out. Having collected the supplies, Harold moves towards the richest house. The fugitives celebrate with all their might, but the sudden appearance of a woman disrupts their fun. The devoted servant boldly kidnaps Vil from the captain, and then enters an empty room, where he takes off his uniform jacket. He soon brings to justice a rebel who challenged his dominant position. Having accused him of betrayal, looting, and other sins of the detachment, the captain announced a death verdict. The soldier is stripped in the courtyard and ordered to flee. He takes a few steps, but a rifle salvo interrupts his existence. Subsequently, Harold and his team throw an even crazier celebration filled with music, dancing, half-naked girls, and rivers of alcohol. After a noisy party, the next morning everyone is scattered exhaustedly in random places. The military police discover and detain them in this state. Vil, posing as a captain, wants to eat it, but the police save some of them. And it is written in German in white that he is a simple private. Despite his many crimes, at his trial Harold is offered parole instead of the death penalty. He proved himself to be a savvy guy with an iron grip, resourcefulness, and the manners of a true officer. Instead of being hanged, he is sent to the front line, which he happily agrees to. However, a little later he escapes with the help of a rope made from tied sheets. The former captain wanders through a forest strewn with skeletons, literally walking on bones, before disappearing into the impenetrable darkness of the forest. The final credits tell about his further fate. On May 23, 1945, Willie Harold was arrested, and a year and a half later, on November 14, 1946, he and 6 accomplices were executed by court order for war crimes. At that time, he was 2 years old.